Okay.
Everybody, this is the Uncanny Omar with my lovely co-host,
Astonishing Melanie, and together we are Omni Fusion.
Wow, who are these people that are with us today?
Well, we have the most lovely and exciting Amanda Connor and the okay and mediocre Jimmy Palmiotti. Yay!
That's way much.
Wow.
So
Just kidding. The
Excessively
fantastic
mediocre.
and terrific Jimmy Palmiotti.
Excessively mediocre is usually the
Mediocre. Wow. Thank you guys for joining us again. It's been a couple of years since we've had you on the channel, and we missed you all.
As excited
So,
and Sean Desuk.
Any chance we get to talk to you all, we will take it. How have you guys been? How are the last couple of years for you all?
Good. We're doing okay.
Yeah, we haven't been working really hard, right? We
Not-
traveled a lot.
Yeah, the last year. We're making up for it this year though. We have to.
Got a lot of conventions this year.
Yeah, we have to make up for all the money we had hemorrhaged last year.
It happens. It happens.
We traveled a lot last year, so we're like, woohoo! Now we're like, all right, we gotta
Get back to work. Yeah. We've been excessively absent from things.
Where did you travel?
Europe.
Yeah, we went to Europe for 42 days.
Oh, nice.
Whoa.
We backpacked it through
Yeah,
Germany, Italy.
Yeah.
Wow.
We landed in Germany, went to France, went to Switzerland, went to Italy, went up to Vienna, and then through Germany up to the Netherlands.
Yeah. It
That
was
sounds fantastic.
just with backpacks, and we had a train ticket that you could use. It's a Europass,
Mhm.
so you could hop on and off trains, and we wung it. Really, no big reservations. We kind of just said, "Oh, that looks like a cool town. Let's go." That kind of thing.
Wow, how freeing. That's awesome.
It totally
Did you
was.
get any material like you feel like you could use in a story one day?
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
I think if you're a writer, it's important. A couple of things are important. One is travel. Get to see how other people live. Fall in love. Get your heart broken. All that kind of stuff is really good for storytelling. If you really don't live, you honestly, when you write stuff, it doesn't ring true very well. You can write about living on Mars, but if you live there for a week, it'd probably be a better thing you were reading. And I just think it's important for us to not only travel but live in other places too. I think it's important if you're a writer.
What was your favorite things you saw? Your favorite thing, like out of the whole trip?
Well, we
A lot of good meals, that's for sure.
Yeah. Like crazy good
The
meals.
Christmas market in Vienna
Vienna.
in Vienna was pretty amazing.
That was awesome. We were in a place in way northern Italy called Bolzano, and it had a castle, and I think it was from the 1200s.
It
wow.
looked like the Game of
Yeah.
Thrones. The watch up by the north tower, the north wall, the north wall.
Winterfell.
It looked just like Winterfell. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
We met up with a couple old friends that are over there. We went and the Sound of Music tour, which
What? I didn't know that was a thing.
Fancy.
it's a thing, and
We found out it was a thing. We're like, hey, look what they have. Let's do this.
We did like a lot of corny things, but that's part of traveling. Is
Yeah.
and then halfway, like the 20th day, Amanda looked at me and said, "We need a vacation from this vacation." So
That sounds like my wife.
So we found a place up in what part of Italy was that?
Northern Italy. It was a place called Terme Montegrato, and it was
a spa town.
It was a town that it's got hot springs under it, so it's like got all these like resorts that have hot spring pools. We're like, we're in. So,
Oh wow, that sounds
Wow.
awesome. That sounds
I want
awesome.
to thank Brendan Riley for contributing. And slab number one. Next time, Brendan, I'll if I see you at a con, I'll do you one. Then you can get slabbed afterwards. I'll do on the house. I'll do a little.
Oh wow, that is so
mention
nice.
this show and I mentioned it to you.
By the way, if you've never met Jimmy or Amanda at a show, oh my gosh, they are a freaking riot. They're so wonderful and take their time with each and every one of their fans that come up and say hi. That's why I never get a chance to say hi to you all when I'm at a show and I'm covering it. I'm like, oh, there's a man. But I think the last time when I saw both of you at might have been New York Comic Con, I can't remember. It was right before everybody was leaving. I'm like, I'm just gonna go and say hi really quick.
Oh,
'Cause you guys always have a line. I love it, but I love seeing my favorite creators have just big lines.
We
of people
do
waiting to meet them.
take our time with people, so the line
That's good though.
does get a little backed up, but we want to make sure we don't want to just sign something and hand it back
well, I
to
mean,
you.
that's the whole point. I mean, for me, so the whole point of going is to like have fun and to make the people who are coming there to meet you have fun.
Right.
So, I mean, that's what I used to go to conventions for.
And CNS has brought up the pro. That is
Thank you.
such a hidden gem.
Yeah, I'm seeing somebody.
get it real quick.
Mirage, thank you very much for that. For
The Hunters.
Hunters. Yeah, that was my last Kickstarter. So
Yeah.
thanks, buddy.
We actually worked on the Hunters cover while we were traveling. It
That's
was
true.
really, we figured out how that was one of our COVID projects, was figuring out how to use Procreate, and we did my Hunters cover on Procreate.
Yeah, between Italy and somewhere. I know we had it for a couple of days. We were working on it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true.
So
this is
There
the
you go.
book that
I love that book.
who loves it? Who's
Mm.
referring
That's
to
like
it?
a fifth
Dennis.
printing one.
But
Yeah.
we can't open and show it because I'll probably show something I'm not supposed to.
Finally, you just randomly.
Back.
There you go. Back up his face.
Oh yeah, YouTube loves that. Just randomly showing a nipple.
Well, there's actually, if you look on YouTube, there's a animated pro that we did to pitch the show. They gave us money to make it, and it's if you look, I think it's under my name or something. And it's like a 3-minute animated thing of the pro, but it's not for kids. So I will
No.
put the heads up there.
Just because it's animated. Yeah.
Don't leave the show to watch it. It's gonna be there.
I'm curious to know which book Mark Zimmer bought the pages from. He said he has a
All the way back in the 90s. Yeah.
back in the 90s.
90s.
That's
Oh, yeah.
a long time ago.
So we have one of the biggest Harley Quinn fans I know in the chat right now.
Who's that?
Alex.
Josh Great. No, I'm just kidding. Not Josh Great. This young lady right here, the Unstoppable Bar, that lives overseas,
Oh, okay.
and that is her
We
first
would
comic
have
book.
stopped by your house if we knew where you lived. When we were in Europe, we would have rang your bell.
Overseas, it might be Asia though.
It could be Asia,
Yeah,
so
we
we
went there.
can go there.
Overseas is a lot of places. A lot of places. I did not want to miss this. Oh yeah, it's like 1:13 in the morning her time.
Oh, is she in Asia?
She is in Israel.
Israel.
Oh, in Israel. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's late at night.
But she loves you all. And actually,
And she was saying this was her first stream a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was
the
when we
interview with
interviewed
you
you.
all.
and she's
Oh,
been with
yeah,
us
man.
ever since. So
Good
thank
to
you
see her
both.
again. Good to see you.
Good
doing
fight.
Mark's gonna
the Unstoppable
So what are you two currently working on? Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Bar.
What's going
Harley
on?
Quinn peaked at Mad Love. Oh, that's nice.
You quoted
You know
me.
what? We love Mad Love. So I mean, we both have copies of that book.
Yes.
So yeah, that is I agree. That's kind of like the best it's been, right? Mad Love.
I do like that love.
Yeah, because that's why we had to do something different. If we were trying to hit the Mad Love thing, we would have never done it. So that's why we had to do our own thing. But what are we working on now? You have a cover on the desk. You have 2 covers.
Yeah, I have two. Actually, I have 3 covers.
3 covers.
3 covers.
They're lined up. They're for
Do you
different.
go back and forth between covers?
No, I try and get one done,
Oh.
and then it's really hard for me to change channels that way.
Yeah.
Like try and like Jimmy is good at it. He can like spin a lot of different plates all at the same time. But
Yeah, when I'm writing, it's a little tough. Though. I do have like cheat sheets of characters from each book on my desk. So I'm like, all right, who's that guy in it? Oh yeah, there he is. Thank God these days we're not working that hard, because there was a time I was writing 3 books a month, and my brain was just like, I just had so much going on that I had to write down everything. I would reread my scripts and go, oh, that's what's going on. Okay, yeah, let me reread it again. But these days we're working. I have a new Kickstarter in a couple of weeks called Fantasima, and it's actually 3 books. It comes all in one Kickstarter, but it's about a brother and sister when they're young, get separated. The family goes on vacation without them, and they have a tragedy, and we cut to 20 years later, and the brother's all by himself, and we think what we think, and then, but it's not really true to what happened. it's sort of like by the time the end of it, it's like a Jungle Girl type book. It's set in Chile, and it's pretty different for me. And it's written and it's drawn by Pierre Brito, who did my Denver book, who also did the Jetson series with me for DC, and it's pretty cool. So I have that, and Man and I are working on a couple of things we can't talk about. She just did a cover for these guys, AWA, for the Marjorie Finnegan
Here, I'll.
book.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I heard about that.
For some reason, AWA.
Oh, I'm so happy.
Yeah, they're doing a Kickstarter too. So Amanda did a wraparound cover for that, and that's what we're doing. We have a couple of things out there.
A lot of Kickstarters.
Yeah, I mean that's our main thing. It's funny because the stuff we want to do for the companies, they don't want us to do. So we'd rather not do anything of it. You know, we don't want to take on work that we don't have any passion for.
Well, maybe that relates to Josh's question. Is the Kickstarter easier than the big two?
It's definitely more freedom, that's for sure. Easy is a weird word, right? The Kickstarters take a ton of work. I mean, me and Patrick and Amanda ship out thousands of packages, so that's a lot of work. But it's easier as far as what we feel passionate about, like we're writing. A lot of times DC and Marvel, they'll call and they say, hey, do you want to do this book? And I look at her, she looks at me, and we're like, I mean,
you know, yeah, if you don't grow up being in love with a certain character or even being in like with a certain character, it's really hard to get into it.
Did you say being in like?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome. Yes. High school. Yeah. High five.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's tough when they offer you something and you go, yeah, I'm not really into it. I'm sure there's somebody. I remember Marvel offered me Doctor Strange, and I said, yeah, I pass. I'm like, I'm not, you don't want me writing Doctor Strange. And they're like, why? And I'm like, well, no matter what happens, he goes biddly boo and it's all fixed. So I was like, I don't want to write that. And
well, the odd thing is it was really confusing for the editor because there are so many writers who would love to do Doctor Strange, and it would be taking away an opportunity from somebody who is passionate about it.
Yeah.
And doing a job that you feel half-hearted about. So give it to somebody who's passionate.
That's what I tell them every time. I don't care about it. Give it to somebody else. I remember being in this is years ago, when Kevin Smith was doing movies, and one time I was on set and he goes, you want to be in this scene or something? And I was just like, you have a wall of extras dying to be in this movie. Because I'm your buddy, that's great, but let them do it. I don't need to be,
Oh, that's really cool.
It's the way I feel about the characters. It's like, if I don't really want to do them, or I don't see them as a challenge, I'd rather not work on it. Because I don't want people to pick up my work and go, oh, he wasn't into that character, or he had no passion for that book. When you see me doing something and my name's on it, it's usually because I want to do it. And so I'd rather turn down work and spend Amanda's money than go out there and do stuff that I do.
Well, that kind of leads to Bar's question about what are the characters that you're fans of that you've worked on?
Oh God! Well, of course we love Harley.
We love Power Girl.
We are super passionate about Power Girl. Like we actually have a story idea for a Power Girl that we keep trying to get them to say yes to it. It's like, come on, you can.
We keep offering hey, if you want to do that, we'd love to do it. Man, the drawing and us writing.
Yeah.
No interest. I also like at Marvel, I love the Daughters of the Dragon, Misty Knight and Colleen.
Yeah, that was
I got a Daredevil little miniseries a couple years ago, and Daredevil's a fun one. I wrote a Punisher book that has not come out yet and probably won't for a little while, but there's certain characters that I just find more interesting than others, and the company characters, I can honestly say I've written almost every character at both companies at one point or another. So unless they're going to really tell me, hey, would you like to write this and you could do whatever you want? That's what I want to hear. That's what happened with Harley. They said, here, take Harley, do whatever you want. And
they honestly thought that it was going to get canceled after 6 issues.
Right. So they were like, all right, have fun, but, it's not going to last long. We're like, okay. But so that's where we're at. We're not like the 20-year-old guys coming into the business where they have to take every job.
We were that once.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. You look through the history of my books, I had to take stuff to pay bills. But I definitely tried to make them as fun as I could. And so we're very picky about what we take on. Usually, if you say,
That's awesome.
why are they doing that? It's usually because we thought of it as a challenge. on
Jimmy,
something.
you've been
Like that.
Yeah, Red Sonja was
we
like that.
because we both grew up with Red Sonja. We both
yeah.
loved that character,
Yeah.
and we wanted to unleash our inner Roy Thomas.
Yeah, and now I'm working on right now is the the Tales of the Gunslinger, which for Todd McFarlane. So I'm writing that now. It doesn't start the series. It's a brand new series, monthly series with Patrick Reynolds for Todd, and that doesn't come out till September.
Okay.
But I'm on issue. What am I on issue 6 or something right now?
You are passionate about westerns.
I do
You
like
love
westerns, and Todd and his guys approached me and said, how do you feel about doing like that, like the Gunslinger when he was in the West, but very grounded, not so supernatural, not so like the regular book. And I said, I got some great ideas about this. So I'm doing that right now.
Do you you miss doing those kind of stories for Jonah Hex at DC?
Well, that's why I did the Hunters on my last Kickstarter. Straight Western. And yeah, Gunslinger is a Western with in Todd's universe. So there's all the Todd McFarlane characters I get to play with from the past. So it's a lot of mystic and a lot of monsters. There's a lot of monsters. The book is such a violent comic. It's crazy. But we're giving the Gunslinger fans exactly what they want,
Are you also a fan of westerns, Amanda?
Yeah, I mean, not as much as Jimmy is, but I do, yes. Yeah.
Amanda likes crime.
I do. I actually like caper stuff. Like I realized that most of my favorite movies are like ridiculous caper stuff.
Okay.
And I
we're
never
watching
knew that.
Fargo now, so
and I'm loving that. And like
the movie or the TV show?
TV series. Have you seen it?
The TV series is excellent. Like
it's fantastic.
I think I'm on season 4. I'm on season 4.
Yeah, we haven't got there yet.
True Detective is also excellent. I don't know.
We did season 5, and then we went back and watched 1, 2.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen 5. Yeah. True Detective is awesome too. If you haven't seen that one, the new season.
We've seen that. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, it's so good. So yeah, I remember when I had you on a couple years ago, I was like, hey, how do we get a omnibus out of your Jonah Hex and All-Star Western?
Yeah, I think I have to die. I think I have to fake my own death, and then they'll feel like, we should collect it. The poor guy is dead. Maybe Amanda needs some cash for the reprints. I've asked a million times. The books are all out of print, which is really frustrating, right? They have, it's 70 issues. They literally could do 2 omnibuses and nail all of it. And the amount of great artists I've had on those books, it's just it'll sell automatically just for the art. But I think it's really short-sighted of them because they reprint, and you know this by the wall behind you, they reprint every single thing.
Mm-hmm.
But Jonah Hex. Actually, we had to beg them to reprint the Power Girl trade. And they finally did it this past year.
Yeah, they did it. They had like a fat trade.
Yeah, and it sold out years ago.
Yep.
And then people selling the original one, it was like $150 plus. You couldn't get it. And they finally re-released it, and it sold like crazy.
We did a lot of begging last year.
All we do is beg. That's it.
I find that so hard to believe that you would have to beg for something like that. This is crazy.
You know what? Here's the illusion that when you're successful in comics, anything you want after that is yours. That's the biggest pile of crap. It never ends. You have to still pitch. You have to still get things turned down. People don't return your calls. It never ends. It never ends.
Shonda Silk's asking, what's a lesser known work of yours you think people should check out?
That's a great question.
Man, what do you think? You could name
lesser known work.
Name yours first.
Oh God! You know what? The funny thing is, I'm going to think of it 10 minutes after this is over.
What could it
I know. Lesser known, I would say the Pro, but that's
pretty
not
known,
so
actually.
lesser well known.
Yeah. Like I knew where it was on the shelf. I went and got it.
It helps that I have things in alphabetical order.
I'm going to answer it while she's thinking. I think the Monolith series, GI Zombie. I have a whole wall of them. I mean, stuff that didn't do well. Super Zero was one that we did.
Oh God, Super Zero was so
for,
fun.
Yeah, for
also I'm like going way back in Tomoe for Billy.
yeah, that was fun.
For Crusade Comics.
We've done a lot of comics.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Gatecrasher, right? Gatecrasher.
Here's one that like people might have. This will like challenge people to like find it in back issue boxes. The first time I ever worked with Garth Ennis was Painkiller Jane and the Darkness.
Right. The crossover
that
comic
is not
we did.
so well known, but boy, was it
It's
fun.
a great comic. It's it was a Top Cow Event Comics book. We did four Painkiller Jane crossovers. We did that one with the Darkness.
Yeah.
We did Dark Child. We did Vampirella, Painkiller Jane Vampirella, and then we did Painkiller Jane Hellboy. And those 4 books were separate. Like, every year we would do a crossover. We did them in a while. And it was a lot of fun.
You guys have done so much.
Well, I mean, they've been in the industry for so many years.
At least 1,000 years.
Yeah.
1,000
But
years.
still,
Which-
that's amazing.
Jimmy, you were doing creator-owned stuff, like
In the 90s.
not with Image. It was cool because you didn't do it with Image Comics. You
No, we did our own company.
yeah.
Omar and I did a company called Event Comics, and we did
Mhm.
firefighter superhero called Arsh. Arsh. That's my Garth. You said Garth Ennis. I'm hearing his voice. Oh, kiss my Arsh. Yeah, we did Ash. We did Painkiller Jane. We did 23 Rides with Event Comics, and eventually that's what led us to get hired for Marvel Knights, because Marvel saw we were doing really well with our own stuff, and they made us an offer we couldn't refuse with Marvel Knights, so we had to do that for a while. Yeah.
And Amanda, you have been drawing for quite a number of years, and
Since
one of
I
the
was
things.
3.
Since you were 3, you said?
So one of the things that you did do was the Gargoyles comic,
Yes.
and that was now there were. Let me see. There was the Marvel run, and where was your art in that?
Marvel Run.
The Marvel, yeah, that's actually the first time that Jimmy was inking over me were the Gargoyles covers.
Yep.
For the mid-90s Marvel Gargoyles.
Yeah, it's where I met Amanda, actually.
Yeah.
I met her up at Marvel.
So without Gargoyles, there would be no Harley Quinn.
It's not our Harley Quinn.
That's logic.
That's
Somebody else might have done Harley Quinn, but it wouldn't be our version of Harley Quinn. There probably wouldn't be all those movies and the animated show.
so that is the Kickstarter that is currently running. If you want to see that Amanda Connor art, and
That's right.
The newer
by Jimmy.
the newer version of the Gargoyles, which was like a passion of Greg Weisman's, the guy who created them. He was just like that. That's the Gargoyles. Those are his babies. So I know he's really passionate about.
How did you get attached to that project?
My editor Hildy Mesnick knew that my soul was dying by doing Barbie and Disney stuff, because it was so restrictive, and I like to sort of spread my wings, and and as I always, a lot of people have heard this before. When I was doing Barbie, she was allowed to have like an emotional range of somewhat satisfied to sort of happy.
Oh, yeah, that's really.
And my favorite thing is like facial expressions. So
That's my favorite thing in comics. I totally love your facial expression.
That's how we connect. We connect through the face.
right.
Yeah.
Was it love at first ink whenever you were inking that those
We were
covers?
friends for about
We're friends.
4 years before we even got together.
But I didn't meet you on that
Yeah.
up at
Yeah.
Marvel.
But anyway, Hildy, she put me on the Gargoyles.
Hildy
She's like,
Mesnick was the editor.
she's like, do you want to do this? It's a Disney book, but it's not, directly for Disney. It's for the Buena Vista, thing of Disney. And she said that you're allowed to do it in your own style, just as long as people, you can recognize, all the gargoyles. And I'm like, I'm in. So that was that's how I got that gig.
Yeah, I inked the covers and somebody else inked the interiors.
Yeah, Alberto Saichan, he's from South America, I think
Yeah.
Argentina.
Mhm.
He did the inks on the interiors
Yeah,
for that.
I did the covers. Yeah.
So we pinned to the chat. Anybody interested in this Kickstarter? There's the link to it.
That's the Gargoyles Kickstarter that has, I think, 3 more days, I believe.
Does it really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's doing pretty well. You know, it's a collection of all the books Amanda did, and then it has. I think there's a level where you can get a drawing by Amanda, like a nice 8x10. I think there's a level in there. I think there's a couple left of that in the Kickstarter campaign.
Awesome.
As well, but it'll be nice to see all these collected into a big book. You know.
Yeah, this stuff has never been collected. I mean, they were digest-sized books, but not fully collected. Maybe one day Marvel will make a Barbie omnibus
with the Alpha Omnibus.
Yeah, with the Jonah Hex one, they should put out the Barbie and the Jonah.
You might have a better chance for Marvel releasing the Jonah Hex.
It could be a 3-in-1. Oh my gosh, that Omni would be like. Oh, wait, Alpha wouldn't be that big though. I don't know, 50 issues? How big is that?
Do you ever consider writing a super family character like Superman and Supergirl? We wrote Supergirl for the Wednesday comics book, and we also I wrote with Justin Gray. We wrote a Superman and Supergirl miniseries by Phil Noto. That Phil Noto did, and then I wrote Superman, some Superman comics for that for when Walmart did. Remember the 100 pages?
Oh, yeah.
I wrote Batman one and Superman one, and then Amanda and I wrote a bunch of the Wonder Woman ones. We did a lot of books for that because we were really excited about new people buying comics.
Actually, my favorite, other than Power Girl, my favorite Superman family thing that we did was the Wednesday comics Supergirl, Crypto, and Streaky.
That Wednesday comics was so good.
It was
so good.
That was, I remember,
so fun.
I remember Dan Adir calling me up because, listen, we like it was Dan and it was Mark Chiarello. Called me up. They're like, we want you to do Supergirl. Can you write something like Supergirl? Can you write all ages? And I was like, yeah. What do you mean? He goes, well, you're doing Jonah Hex. You're doing Supergirl's like nothing like that. And I'm just like, I can write a young girl. Yeah, I wrote her age appropriate too. I didn't make her like, I don't know, what I call it, like sexy 19, where she's like, Yeah,
well, I mean, in my head, she's like perpetually like 14 years old, right? So she just looks like a teenager.
Yeah, I mean 14 to 16, like that's Supergirl's character. I know they age her up now, but every other character's aged up. So I'm just like, it's kind of cool.
It was a really cool project, and I wish we had gotten more of those Wednesday comics. I have that big oversized hardcover.
Oh, that's what you.
And even that doesn't do the size of the books justice when they were coming out, because they were like
it's size matters, I guess, because it definitely made a difference for a lot of people.
Harley's comic run made me realize I want to try and pursue a career as a comic artist. Never a medium I really thought about. Now I'm totally obsessed.
Oh. Mads, did you draw that? Is that your Harley?
How did you two get? And that is a really good picture, by the way.
Yeah.
How did you two get into it? Is it something that I don't think the last time you all were here, I asked that, and I'm sure it's something you've answered a million times.
That's something
I remember asking, "What's a career where I can make no money, have no health insurance,
yes,
with only what I made have left over from my entire life?" And it's like comic books.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right. For me, I read them as a kid. I would draw them, and I went to a high school of art and design in New York, which is an art school for them. Amanda you went to the.
I went to the. Well, I mean, I realized. I think it was like my junior year in high school when I realized, I think comics is going to be it, because I had all these
junior year,
like stunt woman and action movie hero.
There you go. Thank you, Melanie.
You're welcome.
She knows where all these things are.
No, he had to tell me.
I love that thing. So sorry, go ahead. You said junior year.
I was like, I had all these like crazy career like fantasies, and then drawing is what I knew. And when I was in junior high school, me and my friend Gabrielle used to do comics where we were the main characters in our own Star Wars adventure. So,
oh, that's awesome! Yes,
I had been doing comics for a really long time.
Tell them how many times you saw the first Star Wars movie, the first one
in the theater.
In the theater. How many times?
22 times.
Oh wow! I was gonna get 7.
So wait.
Wow.
You're talking about before it was A New Hope. You just saw Star Wars when it was.
The
Well,
original
A New
one.
Hope. Yeah, the original. You know, episode 4.
I call
chapter
it
4.
I call it Star Wars.
Yeah, I think that's what we just called it back then. Star Wars, not episode 4. Holy crap, Amanda. You really I don't think I've seen a movie that like you went,
Spider-Man 6 times.
I'm trying to think what's maybe
22.
X-Men, because I love X-Men. I think I
Right.
saw it 4 times in the theater and I thought I was crazy.
Yeah, I
22
no, I'm
times.
crazy. That's me. No, I mean that's where all of my babysitting. This is like when you were allowed to babysit at 12. They don't let you do that anymore. But you know, you used to be able to babysit at like 11 and 12. You're considered old enough to like take care of an infant, you know, all by yourself in a house.
Yeah, not much.
You use all your money for movie
I
tickets.
used all of my babysitting money for Star Wars and Star Wars toys, you know, like the little action figures and stuff. And
So okay, I'm sorry, Jimmy. I gotta go a different route with this interview now. So what's the best Star Wars movie, Amanda?
I technically and story wise, it's definitely Empire Strikes Back. But
No, emotionally for me, it's the original first Star Wars movie because that I was so excited about. You know, it's like all new. I've never seen anything like it before.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was so exciting, and the effects were all new, and you know, there's a tough princess in it. I'm like, yeah. So you know, I loved it. You know, it was just
a good reason.
So brand new, and it felt like nobody had done anything like it before.
What about you, Jimmy?
I did not see Star Wars 22 times. I did see Animal House twice in the theaters.
That's okay. That's almost just as good.
That kind of explains a lot about my life too. But
what's the best Star Wars, Jimmy?
I'm looking at on Star Wars just to go to bed. So
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
Oh, Bart, go to bed.
well, hopefully one day we'll meet you, and you know, we'll give you a big hug, and yeah.
So she found out about
During a
Harley's very difficult time in her life when she's a very closeted teenager. Your run on the character was the only thing that made me smile back then. It made me forget about my issues, even if it was just for a few moments. Thanks to this run, I discovered the colorful world of comics and found endless amounts of friends through the hobby. So thank you guys. Your work matters to people.
It's so sweet.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that they gave you so much happiness.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad my overwriting paid off. So you had a lot of time reading that comic too.
It's all those. It's all those 2 times you watched Animal House.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Unstoppable
you so
Bar.
much.
Get some rest.
Yeah, go get some.
You'll be able to watch this again.
Maybe one day.
When you wake up, you know.
Yeah. Good for you, Bart.
All right, Jimmy. Same question. What's the best Star Wars for you?
I like the Empire Strikes Back because it moved, it hustled, it had a lot of story in it, and but you know, like when Star Wars came out, that was like, you know, before you guys were born, or at least probably, right? I mean,
The first one was 77, right?
I was born in 81.
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
born in 95.
Okay. So imagine
78.
imagine a time where there was no other movie like it, right? And then all of a sudden you went to the theater and you're seeing spaceships and aliens, and you know, it was such an exciting time. I remember I was upstate New York in camp, you know, and it was just like everyone was getting together and figuring out how to get to the theater to go see it. And it was playing in a drive-in. The first time I saw Star Wars was in a drive-in. And
cool.
it wasn't great because the sound came out of a little cup by your window. And it was like,
Yeah.
everybody sounded like Darth Vader.
That was a good impersonation.
But it was definitely exciting. But I did love the second one because the second one just got right into the story. And then I thought the third one, which one was the third one?
Return.
Return of the
Return of
Jedi.
the Jedi. First 20 minutes, great. After that, I was like torture for me because it went on for hours.
It was
Torture.
I had only seen it the one that was not one of the ones that I saw multiple times. I had, you know, I was, I don't know how many years older, and I'd only seen it once, and then I watched it again with our young
Neighbor.
he's our neighbor, but we've known him since before he could walk, so he's like our nephew.
Oh. Okay.
And we watched over at his house, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is so long."
Well, the Ewoks and the battles drawn out, and they were like afraid to move the needle with the story in the third one, where Empire literally opens in a battle on a snow on an ice planet, and the third one boogie, and then the third one they just said, "We need to do some more licensing. What can we make up? Well, let's make up Ewoks. They're like New York cab drivers. Everybody will love them." And
I think they were based on Lhasa Apsos.
Were they? Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
like the third one felt like a money grab. It didn't feel like their heart did it.
Dude, but it worked because I was very much like, who was the gentleman that said they saw it at 5? Was it Derek?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was born in 78, and that was the first movie. Like I saw Empire, but I don't remember that one with my dad because he had to read the subtitles for me because I wasn't reading it,
Right.
But by the time Return came out, that I remember, I was like, oh my god, I want a pet Ewok. Maybe that's wrong. That actually isn't. I don't think they're pets, but I was in love with that movie. But I think it depends on when you watch it, right? Just like there's a new generation that loves Episode 1 and the prequels, and the new generation after that loves the sequels, 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah, I love the first Spider-Man because that's the first one. I saw it 6 times. I was excited about it. Like that's my Spider-Man. Well, wait, that's my Spider-Man movie, not my Spider-Man.
I like the first Spider-Man, the first Blade.
Blade was so good.
Yeah,
so good.
I mean, let's be honest. You make a new Blade movie, just put Wesley Snipes back in it. Just let him do it.
He can even if you're not going to get him to cast his Blade, then I guess
the guy's in amazing shape for his age. How cool is an older Blade? I love the idea of that. The world is changing and he's not. I like that.
Who's your favorite characters? Who are your favorite characters?
Well, when I was 12, it was Han Solo.
Yeah.
I had a mad crush on him. Now I would say Princess Leia.
Yeah, I definitely like Leia. I thought that there should have been more of her.
Princess Leia.
And I liked her as a badass in the beginning of the third one. She had the mask on and the whole thing, and Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
Dude, she ends up choking Jabba the Hutt with a chain.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
In New York, that was the 303 drive-in. 303 by Valley Stream, in case he's asking. Around Valley Stream. Actually, in Nyack, near Nyack.
This question goes along with her just choking you out. You've probably answered this a million times before, but here's a question that could apply to all 4 of you. What's it like working alongside your best friend in a career and hobby you both love? You role play as Princess Leia.
Who gets to play Princess Leia, though?
Oh, boy. Amanda can answer this one first.
I'm always Princess Leia.
She is.
Aww.
Yeah, he's like my Brooklyn Han Solo.
Is that true?
Yes.
What is it like though to work with me?
We have to we have separate studios,
right?
So that we don't kill each other.
It's a good start.
Logan, look at what you started.
Because we both sort of we work on things together, but we also do it separately. So if we were working in the same room, it might get a little volatile.
Might not be good. She's upstairs, I'm downstairs. When I'm writing, I play classical music or soundtracks. When she's drawing, she has TV going, but she doesn't look at it. It depends
on what I'm doing. If I'm writing, I have to listen to like classical music or music, like just instrumental music, nothing with words. That also is the case, and in this case, like silence is even better. When I'm thumbnailing out a story, I have to like ultra hyper focus. That's like something that I just like, leave me alone, give me a giant cup of coffee, and leave me alone for hours on end. But when I'm like drawing or inking, then I can listen to music, or I can listen to things that are interesting to listen to but not watch, because if it's interesting to watch, I'm not going to draw. I'm just going to sit there and stare at the thing that's too interesting to watch. So I can't watch movies or anything. But I used to listen to like Judge Judy, because I know what Judge Judy looks like, and I just have to glance up to see what two idiots got into a car accident, and then like listen to the sparks fly. So
What are you, stupid, you moron? That's Judge
now I listen
my
to
Judge Judy.
I listen to podcasts.
Right, she does. I don't listen to anything except music.
Do you listen to crime podcasts? You said you were.
Oh, so there was a moment, and I think it was pre-COVID, and then it only got worse with COVID, where I had to stop watching murder TV and listening to murders, because it's really dark, and there's so many times where you have these poor families that have no closure, and like awful things have happened, and I just got in a really depressed spot. But then we were driving back from a convention, and we heard an ad for something called Ridiculous Crime, where it's all about crimes, but there's not a whole lot of murder in it. It's
a great show. It's like about people who stole Disney animatronics and
I can think of that.
full blown stories about them. So they do research.
Yeah,
and it's insane. You know?
Okay, yeah. That sounds like my jam. Going down a rabbit hole of some.
Right.
Yeah.
So I get my crime fix without having to hear like the sad story of somebody who like disappeared forever.
Yeah.
So
I totally understand.
So that's good. I highly recommend it.
Fireworks comic reader.
On the harsh streets of Mega City 1, she is judge, jury, and executioner. Judge Judy. Yes.
You would do that comic, right, Amanda?
My daughter would buy that comic.
I am the Lord, you moron. She'd be running around. What are you, stupid, you idiot? I love when she says that. What are you, stupid, you idiot? Like, obviously, she answered her own question there.
So you all say you can work well together because you have your separate spaces,
right?
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean,
Amanda and I have a very good sense of humor. We love to laugh, and we find everything pretty funny, and even when it's dark, it's kind of funny. And when you have somebody, you know this, so you guys, I don't have to tell you guys, but when you have somebody that can laugh at the same things, and I enjoy her laughing, finding things funny. Like I love watching her laugh at things because it makes me laugh, even if I don't think they're funny. I like the idea that she's laughing at it.
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah. And we have a to go sideways for a second. When we were working up doing Harley, Dan DiDio said, would you guys like to teach a class to the other writers how to write humor? Because a lot of them don't understand humor. And I told him, I said, humor is the hardest thing to write. It's not the easiest thing because jokes can easily miss. And I said, plus I can't teach your writers that because they're not funny. So we said no, because I was like, they're not funny guys. They'd rather just do serious comics with grown men in underwear slapping each other.
I think if you love humor and you want to be funny, it's just something that you teach yourself from an early age. I don't know if it's something that you can force upon a storyteller if they don't want it. Yeah,
I mean, let's be honest. If humor was easy to write, wouldn't we have theaters full of fun movies, fun humorous movies? And we don't. You don't have like so many different movies, Trading Places. You don't have a Trading Places in a theater in the movies anymore. People love to see great comedies, but they're the hardest things to write if you think about it. And they're also the cheapest movies to make. A great comedy is a cheap movie to make. It's just the words and it's funny, situation's funny, but it's the hardest movie to make. Think about when's the last good comedy you saw in a movie theater in the past year?
Oh, in the theater, I actually, I talk about this with my co-host Amanda about like the how comedy has changed over the few years.
Right.
I think, holy shit, it feels like the writers in Hollywood got together and said Tropic Thunder is kind of our last gung-ho. Let's get it all out there right now because something's about to change. I swear to God, it feels like it's the last hurrah. Let's get it out there because something's about to change.
Yeah, it was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But
was pleasantly surprised with Barbie. I laughed and I'm like,
Well, Barbie was
Barbie
funny.
was great.
Barbie was funny.
Yeah.
It was so funny. It's up for Academy Awards because they can't write comedy the same anymore. And
No.
you have to be fearless when you write comedy. You have to not worry about what people are going to do or say or think about it or dissect it. Remember, the movies we loved when we were kids, let's say the 80s had a lot of great comedies, because they didn't have the internet where people were ripping them to shreds. The movies just came out. And people's like, oh my God, you got to see Ghostbusters. It's fun. It's great. It's whatever. It's a different world. So I think, like I said,
Oh my gosh, can you imagine Twitter and Ghostbusters? Yeah, I liked it, but I took my kids to see it, and there was this weird ghost scene where Ray was laying on the bed and the ghost was unzipping his pants.
Right.
Like all that stuff.
Blazing Saddles. Blazing Saddles.
Oh, forget it. Well, that's why Mel Brooks just doesn't do anything anymore.
Well, he's
That's why he
94.
left.
I mean, he's probably happy
Good.
to have breakfast. But but like I said, it's so with writing comedy and comics is tough because again, you can miss. Like we wrote Harley is funny, but it was also sincere and emotional and all that stuff. But funny comics are tough. It's easier to have a guy that's angry with a shotgun all day long, and that seems like there's 4 John Wick movies. Let's be honest, it's the same thing every movie. How is it? There is this one sniper in these movies who sits 100 feet away from him and just blows the top of his head off is beyond me. But people, but it's safe.
If he can dodge bullets, didn't you watch The Matrix, Jimmy?
Right. But so, like I said, and Coming to America, right. The one somebody Logan had that movie. America too, because you don't have the same writers, you don't have the same, they're all afraid to say something wrong. Right? Comedy is dangerous. You have to put it out there.
I don't know if you could teach comedy. Like back to what you both were saying, I think you either have it or you don't have it.
Right.
And I think that has a lot to do with what you said. Like, when you're young and a lot of this stuff, you might find things funny, but being funny is a lot different too.
Yeah. And we have dark humor in our right. I'll do like straight stories.
Mm-hmm.
There's humor. Even in Jonah Hex, there was humor. Sometimes he was up against something complete. At one point, he got beat up by a bunch of nuns at one point. And, it's funny, but it makes sense to the story that, of course, he was in a place he shouldn't have been. The nuns came out with sticks and stuff, and he wouldn't fight them back because they're nuns. So he just kept getting beat up by these nuns. He just kept running away, and they kept chasing him with sticks. And I'm like going, that's a grounded humor. That's like, of course, he's not going to start punching nuns. Then it's not the character anymore, But it's still fun to watch. It's little things like that. Like I said, I think that's the thing we need to. Comedy's dangerous, and I think we need more of it. Actually.
Also, I mean, when I was a kid, my parents took me to see a lot of comedy stuff. I used to watch really funny stuff with my dad. I was the only little girl I knew in first grade that was really into the Three Stooges. Like I was always looking for a little girl to talk to.
You just throw a brick at their head and start giggling.
That's adorable. That's awesome.
There were a couple of boys that liked it, so I would always talk about the Three Stooges. And I was also into adventure, but my first Tooth Fairy gift was a Mad magazine. So that's sort of
that's awesome.
That's sort of comedy was sort of I was highly exposed to a lot of comedy, from a very early age.
Yeah, you're pretty funny too. But the thing is too, now we need comedy more than ever, right? Because we see a movie and we feel good or it's exciting. But when you leave a comedy, you're like your whole day is so much better. Like you're just happy. And like people really need that feeling. It's why there's a reason why the reruns of Friends still have 1 billion people watching them on some level because people found them funny when it was on TV.
Oh, it's our comfort watches are Always Sunny in Philadelphia in The Office.
Right.
Got to memorize. We just put it on. And right now we're going through Community again.
30 Rock.
A couple of years.
30 Rock.
30 Rock is solid. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
that's a solid one.
But it's but that's what you watch over and over because of the way it makes you feel.
Mm-hmm.
I realized something going back to Logan's question about like you guys working together. So you both enjoy the same type of humor. do you find you're able to laugh at yourselves like after the fact, like when you get into an argument? Because I realized I was like, oh, me and Omar enjoy the same humor,
Yeah.
but I don't find it funny even after the fact. Like it is serious. I've never.
We find it funny.
Do you guys laugh at yourselves?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I call her
Oh, yeah.
asshole every once in a while.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
I want to learn how to do that because
and
I
then
know.
she has, I bought her for Valentine's Day last year or 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Years ago, what did I buy you?
You bought me a tiny little keychain that said, "You are my favorite asshole."
Oh, that's so sweet.
That's
I like
romantic.
that. I like that.
That's romantic.
Can I get that for you for Valentine's Day?
We laugh at ourselves all the time. Like usually, if we're in an argument, you know, it'll end up where he's cracking me up about something.
Yeah, it's because you realize the argument is we're not really mad. We're just not agreeing on something, but it's not
Right.
the end of the world. It's just
Yeah.
different opinion. You don't want somebody exactly like you. That would make you want to eat a gun
I
pretty quick.
don't want another
Yeah.
me in the
Yeah,
house.
but I will say somebody asked what's the favorite. Richard Fearing asked what's the favorite comedy movie of all time. Can we agree on What's Up, Doc? Maybe
What's Up, Doc is just beautiful.
that might be. If
What's
you
that?
guys never saw it, I want you guys to write down What's Up, Doc. Unlock your brain because it's from the
It's 1971
'71. It's Ryan O'Neal, Barbara Streisand,
and a brand new Madeline Kahn, who is a brilliant comedy actress.
just unlock your brain, put it on YouTube. That's your assignment. You watch it together, and if you're not laughing, if you don't find that movie funny, then I will be shocked because it's just the cutest, funniest, bizarre thing.
All I can think of is Bugs Bunny singing that song.
Well,
Say it.
how about
Like,
this?
I don't know anything about it.
I will say the tone of that movie is the tone of our Harley Quinn books.
Oh,
Which is also the tone of Bugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny, because it's called What's Up, Doc, because Barbara Streisand sort of plays an instigator in it,
Yeah, she's the human Bugs Bunny.
Oh,
in the-
okay.
but it's not Bugs Bunny. Obviously, it's a
Well, right, yeah.
yeah, filmed in San Francisco. Dana Andra. I don't know if
It's
Dana
got
you ever saw it or not.
Amazing San Francisco scenery in it. It's so
Oh, okay.
yeah. If
Yeah.
you like San Francisco, it's worth a watch.
It's just an older comedy. A lot of people would never watch it, but I'm telling you, watch it. You guys will be smiling through the whole
Oh,
thing.
well, thank you.
Yeah.
Who inspired you as an artist, and who inspired you as a writer?
Go ahead, man. You first.
My parents mostly they inspired me because I used to just stand over them and watch them draw and paint all day. They're both artists.
Oh, wow.
And, also, Chuck Jones is probably one of my biggest inspirations.
Chuck,
Wow.
that's awesome.
Yeah, Chuck Jones is like he's like one of my all-time favorites. Who else? Mom and Dad, Chuck Jones, Frank Miller, because he's got such amazing storytelling chops.
Mhm.
You know, I love the way he paces a story. Hilary Knight, who illustrated Eloise. I don't know if any of you guys remember the Eloise books when we were kids.
Yep.
He's like his drawings have so much expression in them. Wendy Pini was like in high school. She was my favorite comic artist.
So ElfQuest, right?
Yeah, ElfQuest. I know, like, also my dad had one of those famous artist book. Like I think he applied for that when he was a teenager. You know the thing, draw Tippy, the little turtle with a cap.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he had all these famous artists, like these thick ring binder books, and they had a whole bunch of Al Cap, Will Abner stories in them. And I would just look at them for hours. So Al Cap is another inspiration for me.
And for me, writer-wise, I mean, I grew up reading a lot of books. So, everything from Stephen King books, everything from, there's just so much. But storytelling, I think I got from my dad and his brothers and guys in the bar. And we had these old Jewish men sit in my neighborhood with chairs, and they would sit and tell stories about, the 50s and 40s and 30s. And I think a lot of my storytelling skills came from these guys because they knew how to hold you as a listener when they spoke. They knew how to not bore you to death, get right to the point of stories. they had a certain style to their storytelling, and that inspired a lot. Plus, I have overactive imagination as is, so yeah, just everything. I'm inspired by everything, everything around me, films and music. Oh my God, lyrics and songs and the written word, pretty much everything influences me, and I think it's probably a good thing that I didn't obsess over one writer or. I mean, I used to read Harold Robbins when I was in high school. Harold Robbins books. If you go back, they're like filthy rich people books, like Rich Man, Poor Man, and stuff like that. But it was like I was a poor kid from Brooklyn, so reading about that might as well have been sci-fi for me when I was reading about it. You know.
Aw. Here is a very random question. How Amanda Connor got the gig doing the Adventures of Bio Billy comic based on the Konami's NES video game for Archie.
I love that game.
Yep, I did that. I actually don't remember how I got that gig, but I remember talking to, I'm having a brain, Victor Gorlick, who was the editor-in-chief up at Archie. And I was living in Connecticut at the time, and Archie was, and still might be, I'm not sure, based in Mamaroneck, New York. So it was like a 45-minute drive for me. And I can't remember if I had talked to Victor at a convention or if I had gone up to Archie and showed my portfolio. But that was like, yeah, that I remember that was a long time ago. That's
This movie channel is like a oh shoot, can't remember words. You file things away, but it's a cool name for that job. Not cartographer, that's maps. Never mind.
In real life, or what are you talking about?
Chronicler.
A chronicler?
Chronicler. Yes, that's a word.
You're an English teacher. How is this?
Hey, sometimes you just have a brain fart. I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
I totally
It
understand.
happens. That's our president. Our president's like that. Once in a while, he forgets, and then he wrangles it and gets back to it. It's okay.
So it depends.
What is this?
Yeah,
What
I always wanted to ask an artist: does the colorist technically report to the penciler or the writer, editor? What does that workflow look like? It's every creative team is different, because like sometimes you'll have a comic book company where the editor has the last say on everything, and they won't even show the team anything, any of the steps,
Including the colors?
Yeah, and I mean that's how it used to be at Marvel back in the late 80s and 90s. It just, you gave color notes, but once you set that page off with your color notes, you just hope for the best, and you would see it when it came out.
Yeah.
So,
It's all editor's job. The editor talks to the writer, talks to the artist, talks to the inker, talks to the colorist, and then it gets done in order. Obviously, it's written first. Penciler, inker, colorist, letterer, back to the editor.
It used to be penciler, letterer, then inker, colorist. When
Right,
it was
right,
all
when it
done, by hand on the page.
Yeah, I miss those days.
Oh,
Yeah.
But also, but if you're say running a Kickstarter, then everybody has input. It's different everywhere you go. So
But that's basically what he said. Basic editor
right.
runs the show almost every time.
Yeah.
I'd say 99% of the time the editor runs the show. Yeah.
and let me get a couple of these questions. But before I do, what's your favorite Western, Jimmy? We've asked about Star Wars and comedies. What about a Western?
There's so many I like.
Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles.
It's amazing.
Maybe Once Upon a Time in the West I like a lot. I also
Classic.
like the Outlaw Josie Wales. I like The Searchers. There's too many. Honestly, there's just too many. I don't have one kind of thing. It's almost impossible when you love a genre to have this one's the best, because each one has a special thing to it. I think it's almost impossible to answer that question.
That is a I'm trying to think of what my favorite Western. I mean, I loved True Grit when I was a kid, but I think I was just fascinated with rattlesnakes and the effect they had when they bit you. Like, it was when I first learned about rattlesnakes, I was like, they do what?
Oh yeah.
So it was more of an obsession with rattlesnakes than it was actually enjoying the whole movie. Westerns. Yeah, that is a tough one.
You're not a big Western person, though.
I mean, I like them when I'm watching them. You go out of your way for them.
Yes, I do.
And if I walk into the room, I'll start watching it with you.
Look, there was a point in the late 40s, early 50s, and 60s that Westerns were the number one genre. There was Western series on TV, Western movies. And like any genre, it takes a break for a while. Superheroes are going there soon. And they take a break a while, and then they come back slowly again, and so on and so forth. But I don't have one. I have a good dozen. I give you a top 10 is easier than giving one. Will we ever see a sequel to The Pro? Yes.
Wait,
we're working on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wait a minute. I read that book. How is there a sequel?
That's the fun part.
Okay. Say no more.
It's going to be just Amanda and I. It's not going to be Garth.
Okay.
Because Garth said he gave us his blessing. He says, I don't have any ideas. You guys go crazy. So
he said, Garth Bennett said, I don't have any ideas.
Okay. Yeah, he said he doesn't have the next chapter.
Well,
so
I mean,
you
also,
guys do it.
I think he's into the newer stories that he's writing now.
Yeah, the boys still.
So, yeah.
Marjorie Finnegan. He's got so many books.
Oh, he's got all these war comics he's writing.
That's his passion.
Yeah. If you ever did a show with Garth, all you would be talking about is war. War stuff.
Yeah, I've interviewed him, and he kept talking about war comics, and I'm like, oh, I find that stuff fascinating, though. It's really cool.
Yes.
I wonder how many people cosplay as her.
We have some.
Well,
usually they're boob hanging out and the pulling the underwear up their ass. It's kind of like, it's a tough one to cosplay, but we've had a couple.
I was about to ask, how did they get away with some? Well,
I mean, just as long as nip isn't showing, you can
nip isn't showing.
Yeah, I mean, because if a nipple comes out, the building might just.
Oh my god! Yeah,
spontaneously combust. Right? It's oh my god.
We saw what happened at the Super Bowl. They had to shut down the whole operation.
Everybody lost their minds. Collective, like
America is like a little spoiled baby. It doesn't really even understand. You go overseas, there's commercials with topless women on them. And you're like, and I'm like, yes, thank you.
So when you were backpacking in Europe, you would just walk by topless women in the forest? Hello?
We backpacking like.
Oh well, how about in the steam room?
Oh, okay, yeah, there you go.
I was gonna say our kid's first beach trip was at a topless beach.
It was.
Yeah,
we were in France.
But
yeah.
It's not
was it designated?
Europe.
They don't care.
They don't care.
Okay.
Because I remember.
I
mean, you probably don't, but I remember.
Why would I remember?
I think it's healthier because I think it teaches the brain not to, go all crazy when they see it. I think nudity in Europe is figured out a lot better than here.
It's like I think when it becomes a big mystery, that's when people start becoming obsessed with it. When it's like this like forbidden thing that's so fascinating, and and then people start getting really obsessed with it.
It's human nature. If I tell you guys whatever you do, you can never open that Batman book. Don't open it. I don't want you to open it. It's against the law to open that Batman book in front of you. You'd be like, well, I want that. I want that.
What was that Ren and Stimpy?
That's what I was thinking of, the Ren and Stimpy episode with the button.
Shiny candy-like red button.
Right.
They were freaking out about the freaking button.
I just want to remind people the reason we have that message pinned at the top is if you want to check out the Kickstarter. Amanda, do you want to tell us, just in case for people just joining us, what the Kickstarter is?
Oh yeah, the Gargoyles Kickstarter is, I think, what did we say, 3 days left to go on it?
Nope, he said 30 days.
30 days?
Did he say 30 days?
I think 4 days left.
Or this says 4 days.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's going to be over soon. Yeah.
Oh, okay. 4 days left.
And it's
hurry up.
It collects the gargoyles that I did back in the 90s that Jimmy and I both did.
30th anniversary.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for gargoyles, we wouldn't have this beautiful relationship we have
right
now.
Right.
It's true.
We owe it to gargoyles. So
they might be married to some horrible
it
ogre of a woman. But instead, I have Amanda Kana. I told her today, I said, I'm going to dinner with Amanda Kana. How cool is that?
That
You could probably auction that off at a con. Then it would have been a con. Of course, I would be standing behind the person the whole time. Like
So
this.
you're
Hey,
included in the
some people
package,
might like
and-
some people may pay more for that, Jim.
Yeah,
Who's standing
yeah.
behind them? You
Maybe,
know?
I don't know.
breathing heavily into their ear.
Right, yes, blow it in.
Let's see. About 40 minutes ago, Brendan asked, what do you remember most fondly about the Marvel Knights era?
I was well paid.
It's a game changer.
It was a game no, I fondly remember. I remember Joe's and I's brain set was we're going to show Marvel how to make comics.
Ooh.
And that was the ignorance of being young that we're going to go in there. We're going to show them how the comics should be made. And then we
that
did.
youthful ballsiness.
And then we did. And then we did. We killed it on Marvel Knights. We killed it.
You did.
And we changed the face of Marvel for a while. And so much so that not only did they go out of Chapter 11, but Disney bought them soon after. So we did. I think about our office we had the penthouse of Marvel Comics. We had the penthouse. That was one of our demands. We wanted the 13th floor, and they gave it to us.
That's
They
awesome.
gave it to us.
Hey, it was empty.
No, it wasn't.
Was
It was
Who
Glenn
on it?
Hurdley and all his guys were up there.
Oh, they were?
Yeah, it was not empty.
I didn't know that.
They
I thought
don't-
it was empty.
Those,
Oh, shit, sorry, Glenn.
yeah, but no, we asked for unusual demands. They gave it to us, and then we got to work with friends. Mark Texera was a high school buddy. Garth and Steve were drinking buddies. Kevin Smith was a guy we helped with his movies, so he owed us a favor. Like everybody we hired were close friends of ours in some way. So it was kind of nice for a couple of years working with everybody.
No.
You guys did a lot of things that changed. I mean, comics forever. There was I was out of comics when Marvel Knights was happening, and I came back in 2002. But those were some of my favorite books that I came back and read in trade paperback, like the Marvel Knights stuff. You had Garth Ennis on The Punisher, Brian Michael Bendis taking Ultimate Spider-Man, but before that, he was doing
That's
something
all
like
later.
Daredevil.
Yeah.
After Kevin Smith relaunched that book.
David Mack came on and did Echo, created Echo.
Mhm.
So we had Black Widow, where Devin Grayson and J.G. Jones created Yelena, right? That was in the
Yeah.
movies. And we had a lot of stuff that the Black Panther movie literally is based on a lot of the material Priest and Texera did in the Black Panther books.
Oh, cool.
And so all of these things, the Daredevil show, the Punisher show when it came out, and a lot of it was inspired by it. When we were doing it, we had friends that were in the movie business, so they were asking about the characters. When we went in, the only thing that was really made was Blade at that point. And
Yeah.
we had people, I remember going to John Singleton. Remember we were at John Singleton's after parties for some of his movies. And I'd have guys like Wesley Snipes going, hey, man, you got to put me up. I want to be Black Panther. And, and then we had all these different actors approaching us. Hey, can I do this? Can I do that? And
You went to a Singleton after party? I love that guy. I was a big fan.
John was a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he invited us to most of his after parties in New York. We would go to
That's awesome. Gone way too soon. I love that guy.
Four Brothers.
I think
And,
that was the after party from Four Brothers.
yeah, because Amanda met Grace Jones and
I got to
Denzel.
meet Grace Jones.
Denzel Washington, and man, we met a lot of people. Back then.
That's pretty cool.
John was a great comic book fan. He's not with us anymore, obviously.
No.
But we met him when we did a signing for Daredevil 1 in Hollywood. We did it for we did a signing, and John came up with a stack of comics and to get it signed.
Oh,
He
And-
was genuine comics.
And I'm looking at him like, aren't you John Singleton, the movie director, Boys in the Hood, and all that stuff? He's like, yep. And I said, what are you doing here? He goes, gotta get my comic book signed.
dude, that's so badass.
Yeah, we became friends after. We stayed in touch, and he shot actually Shaft in our neighborhood in Brooklyn, and then I saw John and Sam Jackson and all these guys, and yeah, I went on the set of Baby Boy, which is another movie he did.
Yep.
Met Ving Rhames and all these guys.
Man, you got connections.
No, I have no connections. I got to meet people. That's all.
Well, I think it pays a lot to be a good person too, Jimmy. Like a good guy, right?
Yeah, they're all people. They're fun. I mean, I'm like I like to brag about meeting Margot Robbie. What 3 times we met her?
Yeah.
We went to one of her parties,
Yeah.
and
Is she a comic book is she a comic book fan too? Because that would blow my
I
mind.
believe she
read all our books.
She
read our books.
I realized that somebody caught a picture of her
We'll tell Bar.
in the security line at the airport, looking over a Harley Quinn book, and I'm like, oh my god, she's doing her.
She had her trade.
She's doing her. Yeah.
She had her full trade.
Yeah. It was
She
so
was
exciting.
researching.
She was doing her research.
Yeah.
She was very excited
Oh,
about
that's terrific.
And we went to see the premiere of Birds of Prey in London.
Mhm.
And she invited us to her after party, which was all the cast, and
Oh, dude.
we got to meet Rosie Perez, so that was
Yeah.
great, you know. And
the two
the
Brooklynites.
Brooklynite, yeah, the 2 Brooklyn people went over in a corner and started talking. You know, Margot is an exceptional person, funny, sweet. Definitely you meet her, that she's like a movie star. You know, you get it right away. Like she's smart, and she's nice to everyone. She's like one of those people that just
Very kind.
she's
Yeah.
very kind. Spends her time, talks right to your face, talks about the, you know, she's not. There's nothing vapid about her. She's all there, and she left a really great impression on us.
I've started a couple good questions here, but I just wanted to ask a question before I get to them. So you were saying that what's his name? It's Fan of Comics, the director.
John Singleton?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
What comics do you guys enjoy? What are you
Oh, that's a
fan
good
of?
question.
Love and Rockets, man. I love me some Love and Rockets.
We don't talk about that.
We both
Yeah.
like them. I bring them and put them in the bathroom, and then Amanda reads them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave stuff around, and I'm like, oh, that looks interesting, and
And then
pick
I'm
it
like,
up.
where the hell's my book? Oh, what is this?
Gunslinger. I'm reading this right now. That's Todd's.
You're like Margot Robbie and doing research.
Yeah, I have to. I read everything Todd did on the Gunslinger to write it. What else do we read? I'm looking around the room. I have so many comics.
Yeah. I just finished Kill Crazy Nymphomaniac's Attack.
That's
Kill Crazy Nymphos Attack.
That's the Saska twins.
Yeah, the
movie directors.
Saska
Oh, that sounds
Okay.
cool.
sisters and Daniel Way wrote a.
Daniel Way, from Deadpool. They're great, and we love those guys. I also, on my pull list at the comic shop, is every #1 that is not DC or Marvel. I get a copy of. So DC and Marvel, it's the same stuff over and over. I'm sorry to be so blunt, but it's the same. Another new #1 Batman. I don't have the money for all that, but I do buy all the #1s from Image and Boom and all that stuff. So I try out pretty much every comic that comes out. I even have a bag in my car because I got back from the comic shop. I didn't go through. I have a stack of books I haven't read yet. I try them all out.
Oh, nice. Yay.
Yeah.
What about Savage Sword of Conan?
Oh my
Dave was
gosh.
asking, interested in doing something for that?
Can't say.
You know what that means. Anyway, moving on. Thanks, Dave, for asking that question.
Well, let's ask Amanda the same question.
No, nope.
I'm kidding.
Okay, what about New Special saying for Jimmy, the video games. How's the process of game writing compared to comic writing? Well, may I add a question to this? What video games have you written?
Mortal Kombat versus DCU, Injustice, the first Injustice.
Yeah.
Punisher game, the Ghost Rider game. I wrote me and Justin Gray wrote the animated movie for Dead Space that leads into the game. We wrote the feature animated film.
Cool.
I've worked on a lot of games. The difference is you work with 300 people. You work. It's a giant job. I don't do them that much anymore because they stopped giving royalties. So I kind of stopped when that happened. But the Punisher game, the first one, Garth and I wrote together. And
Matt says it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I remember that one.
That's a crazy game. And Injustice, Justin and I worked on that. We did the first one. We did such a good job, they didn't ask us to do the second one. That's how good of a job we did. I mean, the first one was a monster hit. The second one was okay, but they told us that their guys can do it. They don't need us this time. And
nice.
That's games for you. But It's a lot more work. We're talking about 6 months to a year on the writing. It's not like I'd rather do comics any day of the week or a screenplay. Games have mechanics to them, so you have to deal with the mechanics of the game as well. So it's format, mechanics, and then cutscenes. You have to write that as a separate thing, and then there's gameplay writing that has dialogue and all that kind of stuff.
Wonderful job. Don't
come
come
back.
back.
I didn't know there was a second game.
Yeah, it's
What do you remember the first comic or comics you all read?
Back of Playboy. I think I used to read Little Annie Fanny in the back of Playboy.
Little Annie.
Archie too.
I'm fairly sure it was an Archie or that Mad magazine that I got from the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good story.
I mean, this is like this was like early Criminal Activity for me, but when my cousin Samantha and I were like 7 years old, I think, we used to we lived we would visit each other. At the time I was living in California and she was living in Florida, but we're born like 6 months apart, so we're really super tight, like sisters. And I would go visit her in Florida, and the one of the guys, like my aunt had roommates, and one of the guys had a bunch of change in his bottom drawer, so we would steal the change and go buy Archies and candy. So
Aw,
I'm
that's
pretty
sweet.
sure our first comic was probably one of the Archie comics.
Yeah, me, Archie, and Superman. I remember reading Superman really young. We're talking about like 7 or 8. So that was at the end of the 60s.
I do remember
Yeah.
discovering Wonder Woman when I was about 8 or 9 years old and being like, what is this? And then the TV show came on. And, I was
And
so
then you
excited.
made Wonder Woman bracelets.
I did. I thought, like, when I was around 8 or 9 years old, I thought that Wonder Woman was a career choice. So my mom had this silver cardboard, poster stock paper. And so I cut them out.
Yeah.
And I like made bracelets, and I had my little brother, shoot at me with a pellet gun so I could practice deflecting.
Oh, deflecting. That's so cute.
Don't do that at home, kids.
I'm so lucky I still have my eyesight. Although they didn't come flying out of the gun really, quickly. So it was more like, it would bounce off your head. You'd be like, ow, ow,
Oh, okay.
ow,
Yeah.
But so I got some of them.
Yeah, kids like Amanda are the reason why they replaced the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four cartoon with Herbie the robot.
Right.
Wood on fire.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it was the 70s, so it was pre-safety. Like people didn't like do safety back in the 70s. It was just, a free for all.
It was a free for all.
I think I would bet money my first was Spider-Man. I don't think it was X-Men. Well, I mean, I definitely bought the heck out of Spider-Man way more, but I mean, technically, like the first one was yours. X-Men, was that the first?
168. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I keep looking over here like it's over here. I don't know where the hell
I don't
it is
remember which
actually. I think
Spider-Man
it's
though.
in the
It was
closet
just something
somewhere.
random in the.
You never forget your first.
I do. I don't know which one it was, Omar. Did you forget?
It's so many. It's been so many since then.
Wow.
How
Okay,
are you
Disney's
supposed to remember-
cool.
How are you supposed to
I mean,
remember
look at
first?
the basement. There's so much to read.
I agree.
Comments. Jimmy's cool because he always talks to you on Twitter all the time. I appreciate creators who will talk with their fans.
I do. I had to remind somebody we had different opinions, and he's like, I don't want to argue about this. I said, I didn't know we were arguing. I thought we were just discussing our different opinions. I said, I didn't know you were arguing. I said, we don't have to argue. It's just that you liked something and I thought something else was better. And I had to explain what arguing was to him because I was like, we're not arguing. We're both expressing different opinions. I'm like, that's not an argument. I'm not trying to change your opinion. It's kind of a funny thing, isn't it? Like people just think it's an argument.
Yeah, I think social media really changed a lot of the way people think.
Yeah.
What an argument is, because as soon as they disagree, they're like, "Oh, there's a heated debate going on."
Yeah, I mean, I thought I thought it was Poor Things was better than Oppenheimer, and the person, and they wanted to get into it with me, and I'm like, no, I just think it's better. But if you like Oppenheimer more, that's great. Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
It really hasn't changed.
I haven't seen Poor Things yet, but Godzilla -1.
That
Yeah,
was
Godzilla is amazing.
That was good.
Good.
You know,
That
I didn't cry. I was surprised, but it was good. I was
Yeah.
invested. I
was
just didn't
great.
cry.
did you say you did cry or you didn't cry?
No, I didn't, which surprised me.
You didn't
I
cry?
cry easily.
Why not? What's the matter?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I didn't feel a connection with the protagonist. I don't know
That's,
why.
see, simple. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
It was a really cool movie, though.
If this was a Twitter conversation, you guys would be arguing right now.
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying. I want to know what makes you cry. What's the last movie that you watched that made you cry?
Everything makes her cry. We were watching Love on the Spectrum, and she's just like,
oh, I did, because
and
she
it was
started crying, and I was like, I was so mad at her. What's her name?
I don't remember
Because she's
that.
picky. And I'm like, stop being picky. You remind me of me.
And then she started crying.
Amanda gets mad when we watch the house shows, like transforming your house, and the people come into the house and they go, I don't like the color of the carpet. Nope, we're out of here. And she gets all mad. She's like, what?
You're an idiot.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
Carpet.
Just get
Oh my God, I don't like it.
At the TV.
I get all Elvis-y.
I think Inception, because I teach film studies, and that was one of the past movies we've watched. It just at the end with the music, and then we debated about if he was dreaming or not. But all that music all building up, and he sees his kids, and I'm like, oh.
How about Interstellar? Interstellar, that was pretty. What a
Interstellar. That
was heart-wrenching.
tears in my heart the whole time, the whole movie.
Oh,
Like,
the soundtrack of that movie.
Yeah, that's what Jimmy listens to when he works.
When I
He
work, I
listens
listen.
to
I like
music.
this sounds weird and corny, but I like the sound of giant organs.
Yeah.
You know, I like the. We were visiting some churches in Europe, and they had organs that were the size of buildings, but nobody was playing them. Like, I just want to. Can somebody just knock out a tune?
Like a super villain.
Yeah, no, they're
Easy to say.
terrific.
Or maybe a guy with a
I
mask.
totally get it. Like, they are. They sound great, and they're mysterious and epic. And that's funny you said supervillain, because that's Richard's question. Who your personal favorite
Supervillain. Quick,
villain?
what is it?
For me, Power Girl.
Supervillain.
Oh, supervillain? Elektra.
Okay, that's good.
Wow, good answer.
When she was a supervillain. Well, a villain.
Sure, it counts. It's fine.
I don't know mine. No. There's a lot of them. I don't know. That's a tough one. I like a lot of superheroes.
Yeah.
I did like Daredevil for a while, and then I like Gunslinger right now. Super villains, probably Donald Trump's not really technically a super villain, right? Okay. Let me see.
I'm pretty
know.
sure there's a comic out there.
The villains are a fine line, you know, because they you know, I kind of understand their passion about their direction of what they want. Hitler's like a great villain because everybody hates him, and I like Hitler's dog though because he didn't do anything. He doesn't know what's going on. You know,
I don't think I've ever heard that one.
Hitler's my favorite super villain. Yes,
Because
Hitler.
he's a pure villain.
He's a pure villain. He's just a hateful garbage person. And you know he killed his own dog. You know that?
Oh no!
I didn't need to hate him anymore.
So you're gonna hate a little more because when he had the cyanide pill when he committed suicide, he wanted to make sure it worked, so he gave it to his trusty German Shepherd to test it, and it worked. And that's when he says, "Okay, give me another one," and you know that's the end of that. But he did it. He tested it on his dog. Think about his trusted the dog who's there every day. He comes home
to kill 6.
Yeah. Then again, you're right.
It's not a huge stretch.
But it is a little outrageous, though. I don't know. Like I'm like, does this guy love anything? And then he kills his dog, and I'm like, nope, he doesn't love anything. Nope. Anyway, Hitler.
Do you know if you're going to see if we're going to see any more giant size artist editions featuring your work?
Huh.
I don't know. Hopefully,
to do them myself for the Kickstarters, they're very expensive because you have to get them printed overseas. I try to keep all the printing in the United States because trying to keep everything here. But they're very expensive to make oversized stuff. But they do those things where they scan the artwork and they make those giant editions of those. But
the artist editions.
There was Amanda had one, a great one from Graffiti put out. That's what was it called? Power Girls? Was that what it was?
Girl Power.
Girl Power. That one's still available, and but they don't make a lot of them. So hopefully we see more.
A long time ago, there was a solicitation for an Ash Omni. Any chance of that still happening?
I didn't know that. Really?
You know what? You know what? Somebody did that without asking us. Like they were going to do an Ash Omnibus, but we had nothing to do with it. Like somebody just put that in it. That was not us. Somebody did that, and obviously it didn't work. It didn't.
Who owns the rights to the event comics?
Joe and I.
Okay, so it is still you both.
Yeah. We. I mean, you know, I still put out Painkiller Jane in the Kickstarters. You know, so I still put out once or twice a year. I put out a Painkiller Jane book myself.
That's awesome. I would love an Ash collection. We have one trade paperback. I would love to see that.
Yeah. So when we did the books, it would have to be every page would have to be scanned and cleaned up because there's no film. They lost all the film on the books. So
it has a page count and everything. It's on a few used bookstore sites. It's sold out.
Yeah, sorry.
So you're saying that it would have to be rescanned and remastered?
And cleaned up and remastered. Yeah, because there is no actual film on the pages. The good news is Joe and I own every piece of original art. We never sold any Ash art.
Oh my gosh.
If they wanted to do an artist edition, they can actually take every piece of art and make this gigantic Ash book.
Well, I just interviewed Scott Doonbeer. He's the one that puts them together at IDW.
Yeah.
I get his people to get with your people. But more importantly, what we need to do, Jimmy, is get the Ash Omnibus and kickstart that. You see all of these creators doing their creator-owned stuff Kickstarter.
So there's a time in your life when you sit around and you look backwards. I'm still I want to do new things, and I'm doing new books and projects. I think it's a time when you slow down and you say, or other people do it, right? Other people say, hey, we want to collect your thing, and then they do it. But for me to look backwards too much, it's kind of like, it's sort of like throwing like stuff in my own path, like to trip over, you know. I'm trying to do new work and new ideas, and you know, the brain has like a 1,000 ideas in it. And if they were cars, I want to take some of these cars off the lot already, you know, and get them out of my head, do the books so I can move on to other things. But there might be 10 years from now, it might be a point where I'm like looking back and going, yeah, you know, we should do this, we should do that.
Yeah, let me just throw one more thing at you though, because I understand what you're saying. I remember Eric Larson telling me the same thing about like why there was no Savage Dragon collection, and now we have 2 so far, and we got a 3rd one solicited.
There you go.
Because I think like a lot of us that grew up with that stuff, love it, and really, you know, having somebody else do it would be cool. But if you kickstarted it yourself, man, you and Joe just get together and throw a cover, and then you can keep writing new stories. And
we know that it's like Joe and I both have to be in the point where we don't have anything on our plate. And Joe's busy. I'm busy. When we talk, we saw each other in LA a couple of weeks ago for the Echo premiere, you know?
Yeah.
We were just talking about what we're doing, and we're both exhausted ourselves. He's like, well, I got this and I got this going on. I said, yeah, I too. I have this book I got to get out. I got a monthly. And we're sitting there going, yeah, when are we going to do this stuff? You know, it will get done one day. Somebody will walk in the room and say, I'm going to take it from you and do it. And I don't have to do anything except do a new cover with Joe or write an intro. But until that happens, it's not prioritized too much, you know. Do you understand that? Because it's like I'm 62, right? So I look at like how many years do I got left to do this stuff. I still got a lot of ideas I got to get, and you start thinking about that stuff when you get older a little bit. You start thinking about, well, you know, 62 young, 62 old. Then you see your friends are dying in their 50s, and you're like, oh, okay, you know, it kind of like messes with your head a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, I'm like, okay, it's not a priority right now. Somebody else might want to come in and do it, and that'll be great. You know,
Han DeLorean is begging you to come to the San Francisco.
Well, maybe he was talking to us. I don't know.
Yes, Han DeLorean. Who were you talking
to? He didn't specify, so I assume.
I think you guys should go to the San Francisco Thanksgiving weekend. I hear they'll give you turkey sandwiches in the green room, so it's like the same thing.
Ooh.
You don't mess with Amanda at Thanksgiving. She likes it.
I do. I'm very food motivated. I'm like a mid-century cartoon character. I'm all about the food. I'm very food.
Or
motivated.
anime. You could be an anime character too.
Yeah.
Hours up just through eating. You're hungry and you can't eat. I totally feel that way
That's the
sometimes.
history of Bugs Bunny is everybody looks like food when they're hungry.
Yeah.
And the
Oh
cartoon,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
look
He's
at
looked
each
like
other.
food before.
Oh my God, yes. I know I look like definitely a big piece of turkey to her at one point.
Hello there, love Jimmy's Jonah Hex series needs an omnibus now.
Please write DC.
Yeah.
Please just tell DC that if I
Yeah.
controlled it, you already would have 2 of them.
Jimmy's been asking them for a long time.
Yeah, it's exhausting. It really is exhausting.
Yeah.
They just like
You
I
know,
said,
that makes me feel a little bit better hearing you say that. Not because it's exhausting, because I have contacts
That's
at
why I
Marvel
looked at you and yeah.
and Dark Horse and IDW, and DC is they're the only company I used to, and then they let everybody go that I knew.
right.
And,
Yes.
and now it gets exhausting trying to get a hold of somebody over there and never getting an email back. And
yeah,
what's the point?
It's a different world.
So the fact that they're ignoring you to get a book out, all they have to do is send those files to a printer.
It's pretty much it. I even asked if I could publish them at one point, and they were like, "No, we don't do that." Blah 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 blah.
Of course.
I want to answer because Richard keeps coming back to the Ed Boon. If I met Ed Boon.
Oh yeah, did you?
I met him a bunch of times. We worked with Ed. He was in the room with us. He's a great guy, very sweet, personable, nice to everybody. Has ideas about everything. He's very involved with everything he does. So nice, really friendly guy, good guy.
He was the basis of the Noob Saibot. He was a hidden character. It was his name spelled backwards in Mortal Kombat.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Will you be Martin's second one is wishing love. And are you gonna be any cons in North Carolina this year?
You guys do Heroes Con?
Oh yeah, there's a you flip a double-headed nickel. If you bet on heads, there's a chance we'll be there. I can't technically say we're going to be there yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Heroes Con.
That double-headed nickel.
Double-headed nickel, but you can't officially say that. Got it. Wish we could have used that nickel on the question about the Titan Savage Sword of Conan, though.
Oh, and Galaxy Con. Gotcha.
Oh,
Heroes
Galaxy Con.
I loved how
I don't know.
creator centric
Galaxy Con,
was.
right?
Creator
I
centric
think
was.
Where is Galaxy Con?
North Carolina, it says. I don't think we've ever done Galaxy Cup. Could be wrong though. We have a lot of shows coming up this month. In February, we're going to be at Emerald City in Seattle.
It's a good show. I haven't been there in years.
I mean, no, Emerald City is the first con in Seattle,
Yeah.
and then we're going to be at Kansas City Comic Con, which is Planet Comic Con, the week after. That's it, and that's in Kansas City.
You guys going to be in C2E2? We'll be at C2E2 in Chicago.
I don't think so.
No, I don't
Not
think
this
we're
time
invited.
around.
No, we haven't been invited yet.
You haven't been invited? Well, we need to change.
Well, it's, they kind of like a lot of these shows give you like every other year.
Yeah, they rotate their
Oh, okay.
understandable. I
Yeah.
understand.
Yes, we charge them, so they don't run for us real quick. We have demands. Amanda likes her food hot. She wants a hot lunch.
I get like my brain. I have a weird brain. I get very, very overwhelmed by a lot of like noise and visual
That's
stimulation.
not weird.
Mhm.
I guess not. Yeah, and I just need like in the middle of the day, I need to go have a quiet meal with like in a room that's kind of just
Quiet.
Quiet and just like regroup my brain a little bit, and before I can get back into all the visual stimulation and the noise and everything. But not all the shows offer that.
I have a great photo of Amanda sleeping on one end of a long couch and Stan Lee sleeping on the other during the con. They both went and took a nap.
Oh, that's adorable.
I went in and I took a picture of them sleeping like 10 feet away from each other.
That's so cool.
They were
Oh,
both-
I totally understand. I get overwhelmed at cons and I'm having fun, but it's just brain overload. Just like IKEA, it's so weird. But going through an IKEA, halfway through, I'm like, oh, I'm done.
they
But
do
I
have
have to
beds
go
there.
through all of it.
They have beds there. You can get on those beds. They will not treat you often.
I just maybe Stan Lee will be over there.
What?
You and Stan.
I always have to go to IKEA on a non-weekend because I do enjoy IKEA a lot. It's just so much fun. But I try to go when it's not too crowded because, yeah, again, what you just said, it just gets like so overwhelming.
Yeah, to take in. And Logan's saying that's not weird at all.
No.
Martin's second one, love to go to the con. My anxiety score is too crazy. So maybe someday.
Yeah, one day.
I
Or
get
take it like in a small chunk. Like just do for a little bit.
I
Just
get
one
it.
day.
We did the OAX Con, which is the Original Art Expo
Uh-huh.
in Orlando, and that was only 5 people, and it was all about comic art. That was a great show. If you didn't want to be overstimulated, that was the show to go to because you could meet. It had like over 60
Right.
creators there.
Also,
That
Martin,
sounds fun.
second one, there some not all conventions, but some conventions are getting a lot better at like understanding that they're like neurodivergent people like me, and they're making special quiet rooms for people.
Yeah,
to
I
go
noticed that.
and unwind.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if like anxiety, it would help anxiety because there's still people in the room, but it's not quite such an assault on your senses. And then if you get overstimulated by all of the visual stuff and the loudspeakers and people with bullhorns and stuff like that, they make it so that you do have a quiet spot that you can escape to if you need to. Not all conventions, but some of them do.
Yeah.
And you can always try to find a small convention. There's usually small conventions.
Yeah.
Look at the guest list, and it'll be like, even a handful of people. Try some of those, and those are still fun.
Small
Like,
shows.
because they're small.
Yeah, we do a lot of small shows.
Yeah.
Last year we did a ton of small shows.
Yeah, they're small shows that they feel like conventions in the 80s, in the 90s. They're all like comic book centric and
I love those.
You didn't have the guy coming
That's
over.
why I like Heroes Con.
Yeah, Heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So creator centered.
Yeah.
Let's see. New Space Channel is wondering the chances of Amanda Connor's return to Vampirella one day. I do believe there's a sketchbook of her work out there.
I think it nailed
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nailed.
I'm
sorry.
I mean, I did like some Vampy covers for Nikki a couple of years back.
Dynamite, yeah.
Yeah, for Dynamite. I do like her as a character. She is a fun character. That was I think Vampirella was when I realized about myself that I really, really love doing humor. Because like Vampy was something like after I was doing Barbie for Marvel and like the Disney covers for Marvel, I was so happy to get work doing Vampirella because she was sort of the anti-Barbie. She was, she was dark and she was a killer, and she,
Anti-life equation.
sexy vampire girl. And but at a certain point, I was just like, well, she never has any fun, like there's always so much darkness around her. What can we do to make her have fun? And then Jimmy wrote a story for me, like a really fun, irreverent Vampirella, where she goes down to Key West and goes to Fantasy Fest, which is sort of like, a big giant Halloween festival.
Like sexy Halloween.
Yeah, it's sexy Halloween. And it was really irreverent and funny, and we got in so much trouble for it, because we didn't keep her dark.
Yeah, no,
So
the opening page was Vampirella sitting on a toilet. So that was the opening page. Which Amanda does in a lot of her books. There's prose on a toilet. We haven't seen Cargo on a toilet.
Oh yeah,
yet.
we have.
Oh, we have?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
After she has her adventurous night with Vartox, she like goes home and she drank all that that weird space wine. Right. So and then and Stinky is sticking his butt in her face on the bathroom sink.
There you go.
So yeah.
I stand corrected.
That's my thing.
How did you get in trouble after it was made?
Well, I mean, the Vampirella thing. We were supposed to keep her dark and sexy and
the editor-in-chief did not like opening the book and seeing her sitting on a toilet.
Okay. But then that's what I realized. It's like I want to do stuff like this for the rest of my life. I wanted everything to be like goofy and funny and kind of irreverent and naughty.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Oh, you're getting there.
Let's take a couple more questions, and then I know that they got another interview.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how about what book or character was the most challenging, but in a good way to work on for both of you? Did it help you guys elevate your game even higher?
I think Harley was it.
Harley was it for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we never worked on a book where we had to write 3 issues a month.
that was exhausting.
Yeah.
I mean, but I feel like there was a flow with it. You know, I
Sure.
feel like we had a good flow on it. Probably my most difficult one was the before Watchmen. Yeah, the Silk Spectre thing.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to put, so I wanted to make sure that it lined up with everything that had been set in stone in the original Watchmen series. You know, I like everything I did, I wanted to make sure it tracked. Like, you know, like certain facts, you know, were canon in that book, and I wanted to, like, you know, if this was acceptable in that book, then I'll think that this, you know, like this would have worked also. But yeah, I was so obsessed with, you know, and also putting chicken fat in it and Easter eggs and stuff like that, you know.
Easter eggs are so fun.
Yeah, I just I would call my aunt and go, okay, what was it like back in, you know, at this time? You know, what was the world like at this time? And yeah, we, you know, it was research heavy for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did Todd give you, Jimmy, complete creative freedom on your upcoming Gunslinger series? I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Todd got on the me and the editor Thomas and the art. We got on Zoom for 3 hours and discussed what I was going to do. 3 hours, I kid you not. Todd cares very much about everything he's doing. And yeah, he just gave me a couple perimeters to work in because the Gunslinger series is the Gunslinger from the past in present day. So my series is the Gunslinger in the past. So he's like, okay, here's what you can do and here's what you can't do because I'm doing this in issue 38 or something. You know, so I have like a blueprint of what he wants to do, what he wants me to do, and he asked me to ground the series a little bit more in reality because it takes place in the past. And yeah, so he had a couple of requirements, but after that, anything go. I mean, literally, I just finished a couple of issues with a circus, and it's insane. And I'm just like, well, that's not going to get okay. But you know, my job is to push the envelope, is to do stuff that I think I'm going to get in trouble with, or there's going to be some controversy, and then they either come back and say change it, or they say, yeah, that's great. You know, so it's been, yeah, that's great the whole time so far. So it's a really wild book. And yeah, a lot of freedom. If he doesn't like something, he tells me, but I haven't run into that yet. I'm 6 issues in, so.
How about is there a character that you've never worked on that you would like to have done?
None for me, no.
I think brain fart.
Tiger?
Well, we did we worked
we
on
did
Tiger.
Tiger.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I'm having a brain fart. Right.
Yeah, you guys.
Sure. No, we've done She-Hulk.
We did that.
What about X-Men? Any ladies in the X-Men?
Some X-Men.
Storm.
No. With the big headdress, DC.
Barda.
Yes, thank you.
That would be awesome.
That would be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I literally worked on everything I've ever wanted to work. I've written almost every character. I mean, so I'm like, okay, did that, you know.
Oh, good.
Big Bar. That would be a good one.
Yeah,
for you,
seriously.
Big Barda.
I would have her like work in a bowling alley. Big Barda. You know, refilling the ball wax, like one, you know, like it's nothing. You enjoy that, right? Big Barda and bowling. It'd just be like triple B. Big Barda bowling.
How about this will be the last question. Did you all enjoy the Harley Quinn animated show on Max?
It's fun. It is fun. Yes. It's really fun.
It is fun.
We enjoy it.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
It was fun.
Big everything. Mwahaha.
It was,
But you're saying good stream, good night, everybody. Take care and stay blessed.
Yeah, I just want to take this time.
the show would have been more fun if they involved this in it.
They involved a little bit. Tiny.
Did you get a special thanks?
Yes.
We did.
You did.
I did?
Yeah. Well, not a special thanks, but Cyborgman.
Oh, yeah, because they took our Cyborgman character, put him in a couple episodes until they kind of made him into something we didn't do, and then they had to take the character off the show. So, you know, whatever. Yeah, it's the Harley Quinn show is sort of like, to me, it's like the Batman universe starring Harley and a whole bunch of other villains, and It's less about Harley for me, the show, more about everyone.
Everyone else. Yeah, I can see that. I
It
can
could
see that.
easily be called DC Universe starring Harley Quinn. Right? Because it's Kite Man and Bar, it's all the villains. The thing we did with the Harley Quinn series is we took her out of Gotham and created her own supporting cast.
Yeah,
Gave her own
yeah.
personality in her own life. I feel like the Harley show is more like they took what we did, but then they brought it back to Gotham and put all the other characters back in again.
Yeah.
So, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. But it would have been nice to be involved. It would have been great to ask us to write some or to be involved in it in some way beyond just doing some drawings that Amanda did.
Yeah.
Little gripe, but the show's a blast. Everybody loves it, so that's good.
Gotcha.
Well,
New Spooky Channel saying this was a fun stream. Thanks for answering lots of questions.
yeah, you guys are always
Hope
so
everyone
fun.
has- yes.
Like, anytime you guys want to come back, you're more than welcome to come back.
Yes.
Chat about what movies you
I
watch.
didn't want to end on a negative thing. I mean,
yeah, no, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
No,
Melanie, that was the worst question you could have picked.
we like to say I had the DVDs. Like I said, it's just like we felt like at least I felt, not maybe man, I felt like all the work we did, they could have involved us in it. Since they were basing it on the stuff we did, I felt like it would have been great knowing that I'm a screenwriter. I've written animation. I've written to just say, you know what, we should get Jimmy and Amanda in the room as consultants or something on it. And that's the frustrating part of a lot of the stuff we do is, we make great material and they do it with the stuff I create too. And they're like, this is great. We don't need you on it. We got it. And I'm like, wait a minute, I created that. Well, no, we're good.
Like that game, yeah.
And we did write, by the way,
no,
James,
sure.
we did do a Harley Quinn DC Black Label. We did Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey.
Mhm.
That was Black Label, but it's kind of like, wasn't the Black Label. What were they calling it?
The beige label.
The beige label.
Beige label.
They told us we could do anything, and then the minute Harley was topless at the beach, they were like, nope. And we're like, wait, you guys said we could do anything. And I think the bat penis ruined it.
I was gonna say the bat dong ruined everything. That's it.
The batawang?
The batawang, as it was labeled online, it ruined everything.
The Dark Knight. I don't know. Whatever.
Red and Damned is when
that's so. I mean, we did the Harley Quinn, the Birds of Prey, but we got censored in parts. We couldn't. They said it was too violent at one point, and then
wow.
And then we had a superhero in a Speedo, and they didn't want that. They were like, nope. We had a very popular superhero.
The fun thing is that the original pages still have
the art
on it. We were looking at it the other day, and we're like, oh yeah, because when they asked me to change the Speedo thing, I did it in Procreate, so the original pages still actually look original.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, an original. When you're told it's do whatever you want, we kind of did, and that's the problem because we went maybe too far.
You've gotten too far.
You got too far. We just thought Harley wouldn't wear a top at the beach. It's like she's just
especially since she's dreaming about it.
It was in a dream too.
Yeah.
In a dream. I'm like, but Harley Quinn's nipple would have just made buildings fall down, and
James wants to see the original pages.
Yeah, you know what, James? It's like one day we're gonna just have them at the booth, and then make it so you have to go behind a curtain to look at it. And you gotta you have to leave your phone with us because the minute it gets out there, we're never working for DC again. So it's like that kind of stuff. We show our friends when they come over. And we go, here, look, and they're like, oh, and then they just blow up. They're just like, you just see a rain of blood hit the ground. We scoop it up. There was a Monty Python movie about the joke that won the war. I don't know if what was that from?
I think it was Monty Python.
Monty Python, yeah. Where they have a joke, they pass a joke, and the guy's like, this is the joke that'll win the war. And every time somebody reads it, they explode.
They laugh so hard they
explode. And so then they start like helicopters or planes start dropping millions of papers with the jokes on it. And all the soldiers are picking up, reading the joke, and exploding. It was
there's a kid in film studies class the other day that said we should watch Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So that's good. People are still watching
awesome
Monty
movie.
Python because we watched Princess Bride.
The TV show is pretty crazy.
We actually and this probably explains a lot about me. is on Easter we would watch The Life of Brian. My parents
Love that movie.
Easter movie. Good Catholics.
Yes. Oh, I miss those guys. I only lost 2 of them.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having
Hope
us.
we all learned something tonight.
I think I
Signature
learned.
Kings decided to see Jimmy and Amanda.
We will. We haven't been in Baltimore for at least
I think
6 years.
2017 somebody
6
said
or 7 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
We met Signature King at the Baltimore Comic Con last year.
Yeah, we did. He gets like he has a
You had a what's it called? Oh my
wheel,
gosh, what's
not a
Not
wheelbarrow.
wheelbarrow, the wagon.
A little
The
wagon full of,
he
like,
had
all these
the
things.
crown and a-
wow. Like a little like
He
radio.
dresses up. Like, he's royalty. He's like the king of cartoons.
does he wear a crown? Like a-
Yes.
Well, we're not going to be able to miss the Signature King. If you have a Signature Queen, number 1, and number 2, we will see you at the con if you're wearing that. We'll know that we met you here on the show.
There we go. So thank you all so much. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button on the way out and check out the Kickstarter that is going on. It has 4 days left. It's got Amanda's beautiful artwork with Jimmy's ink on the covers.
Did you put it in the description? Yeah, you did.
I always do.
And if you wanna check out what Amanda and I are doing, go to paperfilms.com.
I got that link in the description too.
Yeah, all right, thank you. Yeah, just in case. I have to read.
Yeah, you should. Go ahead.
It's all good.
Yeah.
You can find Jimmy writing Gunslinger Spawn.
Yep.
Amanda's working on 3. Did you say what they
Three
were?
covers and dessert.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what she's working on.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Take care, guys.
Again.
Thank you, guys.